the woman discovered that her husband had betrayed her, so she made him disappear from this world completely. To make sure no one would ever discover the truth, she sealed that secret inside the newly renovated wall of her home. Even after the police came 3 times, they found nothing unusual. But 4 years later, she was shocked to discover that her son had drawn a family portrait. And in the background, there was actually a pair of hands reaching out from inside the wall and wrapping around her waist. The woman hurriedly asked her son what exactly he had drawn. But her son said, "That's Dad. He has been standing inside the wall, watching me grow up." But her son was clearly born after her husband died, so there was no way he could know that someone was inside the wall. Only then did she realize that what she had done might have already been exposed. It turned out that 4 years ago, the woman found out she was pregnant. She wanted to tell her husband the good news, but she accidentally discovered that he was being intimate with another woman in his office. From that moment on, her heart completely died. She realized that all the vows her husband had once made to her were lies. Her husband played the role of a gentle and considerate husband in front of her, while secretly flirting with another woman behind her back. So after returning home, she immediately made his favorite fish soup and added a little something that should not have been there. Then she personally fed it to him, all because when her husband proposed to her, he had once said that only death could separate their marriage. Soon, only a few minutes after drinking the fish soup, her husband collapsed to the ground. At that moment, the woman finally revealed a satisfied expression. After that, she sealed him and the truth behind the newly renovated wall, believing the two of them would stay together forever. To bury the truth, she told everyone that her husband had cheated on her while she was pregnant, then ran away with the family's money. Just like that, the police came to her home 3 times in a row to investigate her husband's disappearance. But after searching everywhere, they found nothing unusual. In the end, they could only have the woman sign the case closure documents. The woman thought she would carry this secret to her grave. But 4 years later, her growing son actually drew a family portrait and said that his father had been standing inside the wall, watching him all this time. This instantly startled the woman. She hurriedly ran to the wall to check, but she found nothing unusual. She thought it was just a child's overactive imagination. But the next morning during breakfast, her son told her again that his father had spoken to him last night. The woman was startled after hearing this and quickly asked what he had said. Her son said, "Dad said it's so dark inside the wall," and he asked if it was daylight outside. He said he told him it was daylight, and then his father said he would wait a little longer. The woman asked, "Wait for what?" Her son said his father was waiting until he grew a little older, and then he would be able to come out of the wall. The woman completely panicked. Her husband had clearly been dead for a long time, so how could he possibly speak? She quickly asked her son when he first found out that someone was inside the wall, but her son said that every night, his father would call him over to talk. Hearing this, the woman could not figure it out no matter how hard she thought. Her son had not even been born the year her husband died, so there was no way the father and son could have ever spoken. She assumed that her son must have been influenced by something at school and started hallucinating. So she went to the kindergarten and asked the teacher whether they had shown the children any unusual videos, or whether anyone claiming to be her son's relative had come to the school. But the answer to everything was no. The school also had a fully closed campus policy, so no one was allowed to come and go freely. This made the woman even more confused. Her son's daily routine was very simple, and he had never left her sight. She truly could not understand how her son knew there was someone inside the wall. But that night, the woman saw her son talking to the air again. He even asked her on behalf of his father, "Did you eat that fish afterward?" He also said, he said he couldn't bear to eat it that day and wanted to save it for you. The woman's face went pale the instant she heard this. That fish had been made by her own hands, and there was no way a third person could have known about it. The woman did not believe in ghosts or spirits at all. She was certain that someone was using her husband's death to cause trouble and drive a wedge between her and her son. The first person she suspected was her mother-in-law. That was because in the year her husband was declared missing, her mother-in-law had come to make trouble many times, saying the woman had killed her son and demanding justice. It was not until the police finally took her mother-in-law away that she completely stopped. Thinking of this, the woman immediately went to the nursing home where her mother-in-law lived. Unexpectedly, she learned that her mother-in-law had suffered a sudden heart attack last month and died after failed resuscitation. Just as the woman turned to leave, the nurse said that her mother-in-law had kept repeating one sentence before she died. The woman asked, what exactly was she saying? The nurse said, she kept saying that her son was inside the wall, telling her it was too cold. After hearing this, the woman felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She could not understand how her mother-in-law knew her husband was inside the wall. How could her mother-in-law also know about what was in the wall? After calming down, she immediately made up her mind. Whether the one behind this was a person or something else, she had to drag them out. So she bought surveillance cameras and installed them at home. But for several days in a row, the footage only showed her son talking to the air. There was no one else at all. The woman began to suspect that maybe her son had imagined a father because he had lacked a father's love since childhood. Early the next morning, the woman took her son to see a psychologist. But after the examination, the doctor said there was nothing wrong with the child. After saying that, the doctor gave her a business card and let the woman go home. But that night, the woman suddenly heard a dull knocking sound coming from the living room. The sound seemed to be coming from inside the wall. She immediately ran over to check, only to discover that the knocking really was coming from inside the wall. Only then did the woman truly feel afraid. But she was not afraid of something being inside the wall. She was afraid that there would be nothing behind it at all. After all, this wall had stood there for 4 years and had never had anything like this happen before. She picked up a sledgehammer, wanting to smash open the wall and find the truth. But when the wall cracked open with a loud crash, the woman froze completely. There really was nothing on the other side of the wall. She collapsed to the ground in disbelief. But just then, she suddenly felt that there was someone behind her. Yet when she turned around, she was completely shocked.